Today, we dive into the captivating chapter of Roman history focusing on Emperor Tiberius, a figure who both inherited and reshaped the legacy of Rome. As the empire was transitioning from the era of Augustus, the first emperor who established the framework of the Principate, Tiberius found himself stepping into an enormous pair of sandals. His rise to power was marked by expectations, challenges, and the promise of stability in a time where ancient traditions met burgeoning imperial ambition. In this script, we explore the unfolding political drama, military unrest, and personal struggles that defined his reign. By doing so, we aim to present a clear and accessible picture of how Tiberius navigated the labyrinth of power and authority while trying to maintain order. This narrative is designed to be relatable, engaging, and insightful, giving you a glimpse into the inner workings of one of Rome's most enigmatic rulers. Join us as we detail how duty, suspicion, and ambition coexisted during a period that not only shaped the destiny of Rome, but also laid the groundwork for future emperors. Let's journey back in time and uncover the multifaceted tale of Tiberius, a ruler of both shadow and substance. Stay tuned. After the illustrious rule of Augustus, Rome experienced a remarkable transition when Tiberius assumed power. As the rightful heir through his imperium, Tiberius stepped into a role that carried both the honor of tradition and the weight of expectations. Without the dramatic flair of earlier conquests, his accession represented a smooth yet significant evolution of leadership in the Principate. In a calculated move to honor Augustus, the Senate was convened to ceremonially pay respects to the great predecessor. This not only reaffirmed Augustus's legacy, but also seamlessly paved the way for Tiberius to inherit a mantle of responsibility. In his official capacity, Tiberius accepted numerous titles and honors that tied him both to the legacy of his predecessor and to the continued duties of the Roman state. Among these was the important act of deifying Augustus, establishing him as a divine figure, and forming a priestly college, the Augustales, drawn entirely from the senatorial order. This move, deeply rooted in Roman religious tradition, reinforced the link between divine right and imperial authority. Tiberius also embraced the title of Augustus for himself, not merely as a ceremonial add-on, but as an integral part of his authority, which he held for life. Furthermore, his revitalization of imperial customs extended to reforming political processes. One standout example was transferring the responsibility of electing magistrates from the People's Assembly to the Senate. This change not only reduced the burdens and potential for conflict among the senators, but also ensured a more stable and controlled political environment. By doing so, Tiberius consolidated power and set a precedent for continuity that resonated throughout subsequent generations. His ascension illustrates a critical juncture in Roman history, a balance between tradition and necessary administrative innovation. This transition was not without challenges. As Tiberius assumed the mantle shaped by ancient traditions, he confronted the dual tasks of preserving Rome's legacy while ushering in subtle reforms. Every decision was scrutinized by both the Senate and the people, setting a tone that balanced respect for the past with the need to evolve. This careful balance required wisdom, courage, and a commitment to Rome's enduring principles. Emperor Tiberius was a man shaped by duty and deep-seated sense of responsibility to Rome. Though he had spent nearly his entire life in public service, his reserved nature often made him appear distant and stern. His character embodied the traditional Roman values of honor and restraint, reflecting the patrician ideals that had long been the backbone of the Senate. Even as he inherited the vast powers of the empire, Tiberius remained cautious, preferring measured action over impulsive decisions. His demeanor was both a source of strength and a cause of disconnect with a Senate that sometimes craved a more accessible and charismatic leader. Despite his reluctance to embrace the limelight, Tiberius enforced policies that preserved the integrity of Roman law and governance, even if his personal style appeared severe. His approach was methodical, blending tradition with pragmatic incentives to ensure order across the empire, always emphasizing thoughtful, measured reforms. His policies, while sometimes controversial, demonstrated a strong commitment to fiscal discipline and administrative efficiency. Tiberius was known for his frugality, often prioritizing the financial welfare of the provinces over lavish expenditures in Rome. This economical approach earned him a reputation among local populations as a protector who cared for public resources. However, his stringent methods also led to perceptions of ruthlessness, particularly among the Roman elite, who sometimes viewed his reliance on severe measures as an obstacle to genuine political dialogue. Despite these criticisms, his reforms and actions ensured that the empire remained stable during turbulent times, and his careful attention to detail left an indelible mark on Roman administration. In this blend of stinginess and practicality, Tiberius subtly redefined what it meant to govern, leaving behind practices that influenced not only his immediate successors, but echoed throughout the centuries of Roman rule. His visionary approach endures even today. Moreover, Tiberius's administrative reforms were forward-thinking for his time. By streamlining government operations and cutting unnecessary expenditures, he set a standard for fiscal responsibility that resonated beyond his reign. The reign of Tiberius was not solely defined by internal policies, but also by significant military challenges on Rome's frontiers. Shortly after his accession, two major mutinies erupted, one among the soldiers in Illyricum and another along the Rhine frontier. These uprisings were fueled by harsh conditions, intense discipline, and dissatisfaction over unmet service obligations. The unrest among the troops underscored a critical vulnerability within the military structure, revealing deeper issues in soldierly welfare and administrative command. In response, the experienced Praetorian prefect Lucius Aelius Seianus played a key role in quelling the mutiny in Illyricum, restoring order with decisive actions that emphasized discipline over leniency. Simultaneously, the legions stationed along the Rhine faced similar challenges that threatened regional stability. The combination of prolonged service, inadequate rewards, and relentless military rigor led to simmering tensions, demanding prompt resolution from the highest military commanders. These frontier crises compelled immediate, decisive leadership. Germanicus emerged as a pivotal figure in addressing the unrest along the Rhine. Taking matters into his own hands, he led his forces across the Rhine without waiting for prior authorization, determined to restore Roman honor and suppress the discontent brewing among the ranks. Over the course of 3 campaigns spanning from 14 to 16 AD, Germanicus inflicted significant defeats on the Germanic tribes united under fierce leaders like Arminius. His strategic incursions not only brought temporary stability to the volatile frontier, but also demonstrated the might and resilience of the Roman military. Despite his tactical successes, the campaigns were punctuated by severe challenges such as hostile terrain, unexpected naval storms that endangered vital supplies, and the ever-present threat of ambushes by battle-hardened warriors. With each victory, the Roman legions held on to the promise of order, even as the cost in lives and resources mounted. Tiberius, ever cautious about prolonged military engagements, ultimately recalled Germanicus, leaving the frontier as a mosaic of independent provinces and new administrative districts aimed at maintaining control over Germany's boundary regions. This reorganization not only reinforced Rome's grip, but also established a military strategy legacy that would shape border policies for future generations with lasting impact. Germanicus stands out as one of Rome's most dynamic military leaders during Tiberius's reign. Without waiting for explicit permission, he boldly led his legions across the Rhine, seeking to reclaim honor and suppress rebellion among the tribes. Over consecutive campaigns between 14 and 16 AD, Germanicus demonstrated tactical ingenuity, leading his forces into the heart of enemy territory and inflicting severe losses on the coalitions of Germanic tribes. His approach was marked by rapid maneuvers, strategic surprises, and a deep understanding of the local terrain, which allowed him to neutralize the threats posed by tribal alliances. However, these campaigns were fraught with difficulties. Even as he won battles and restored hope among his troops, the constant threat of ambushes, the unforgiving climate, and the unpredictable behavior of nature, exemplified by the devastating storms that battered his supply ships in the North Sea, posed recurring obstacles. Each assault further tested the resilience and discipline of the Roman forces, but Germanicus's steadfast leadership ensured that morale remained high, forging a legacy of military excellence that resonated across the empire. His victories carved a definitive mark on the annals of military history and deepened Rome's resolve against its adversaries, establishing forever enduring power and respect. Following his successes in Gaul, Germanicus was dispatched by Tiberius to the eastern provinces to address a renewed crisis, the Armenian question, which had once more stirred regional tensions. In Syria, a bitter dispute unfolded between Germanicus and Piso, the legate responsible for the province's oversight, intensifying an already volatile atmosphere. Amid mounting tensions and amidst rumors that cloaked the corridors of power, Germanicus fell gravely ill. His rapid deterioration and sudden death sparked whispers of foul play, with many Roman citizens suspecting Piso of orchestrating poison as a means to eliminate a popular military hero. Although historical evidence repeatedly exonerated Piso, public sentiment had been irreversibly swayed by the charisma and revered status of Germanicus. In the wake of his death, political factions and rivalries erupted, leading to a fervor of accusations that swept through Rome like wildfire. His demise not only deprived the empire of a capable commander, but also left a void that intensified internal strife. The Eastern mission, intended to secure Rome's frontiers, had instead become the stage for one of the most enduring controversies of early imperial history, a controversy that would cast long shadows on the subsequent reign of Tiberius. This chapter in Roman history not only deepened the mystery surrounding imperial power struggles, but also stirred a lasting debate among historians and citizens alike. Tiberius's decision to withdraw from Rome in 26 AD created a power vacuum that emboldened ambitious officials within the imperial hierarchy. Among them was the Praetorian prefect Aelius Seianus, whose cunning and determination drove him to orchestrate a daring plot. Seianus began consolidating the Praetorian Guard, gathering strength and influence while keeping his intentions shrouded in secrecy. His ambition was palpable as he maneuvered behind the scenes, engineering the elimination of rivals who could threaten his rise to power. His machinations reached a fever pitch when he facilitated the death of Drusus, Tiberius's own son, using poison to remove a potential obstacle. In doing so, Seianus not only exposed the frailties of imperial succession, but also ignited a chain reaction of intrigues and suspicions within the Senate and the broader political landscape. His actions set in motion events that would ripple through every echelon of Roman power. Within the corridors of power, the plot of Seianus rapidly evolved into a dramatic narrative of betrayal and suspense. By aligning himself with key members of the Julian house through an arranged betrothal to Julia, a granddaughter of Tiberius, he sought to legitimize his ambitions. However, his treacherous designs did not go unnoticed. Tiberius, ever vigilant despite his absence from Rome, uncovered Seianus's conspiracies and acted with swift determination by ordering the arrest and execution of the plotters. The purge extended far beyond one man. Many supporters of Seianus were rounded up, and several individuals faced dire consequences based solely on accusations leveled by informers. This dramatic turn of events reshaped the power dynamics in Rome, instilling fear among the senators and creating an atmosphere of constant suspicion. The legacy of Seianus's plot lingered for years, serving as a stark reminder of the volatile interplay between ambition, loyalty, and the perennial struggle for control over the Roman state. In his final years, Tiberius became increasingly consumed by fear and suspicion. Surrounded by potential traitors, he grew paranoid, strictly enforcing the law of treason, or lex de majestate. This zealous application of the law resulted in numerous executions, as both prominent senators and innocent citizens were caught in the relentless grip of accusations. The atmosphere in Rome was one of unease, as even the slightest hint of disloyalty could lead to severe punishment. His severe actions created a climate in which political discourse was stifled by fear, and senators often found themselves torn between loyalty to the state and the terror of being falsely implicated in treasonous plots. Tiberius's later years were marked by a bitter isolation that contrasted with his earlier role as a leader dedicated to Rome's prosperity. This period was defined by mistrust and melancholy, where the once mighty ruler became a prisoner of his own fears. Despite the oppressive atmosphere in Rome, Tiberius maintained a strong, if solitary, commitment to the empire's well-being. He diverted attention to the provinces, where his policies of fiscal restraint and protection of local communities found appreciation. While the capital suffered from the oppressive weight of his suspicions, provincial citizens benefited from his focused administrative reforms that reduced taxation and curbed corruption. His careful management of public funds, though mocked by some, ensured that resources were available for essential services. In these quieter regions, Tiberius's otherwise austere rule was received with relief, as local leaders found a reliable, if distant, advocate for their interests. Even though his reclusive demeanor left Rome shrouded in fear, his legacy as an administrator who prioritized the common good continued to shine through the hardships faced by everyday citizens. Emperor Tiberius remains one of Rome's most controversial figures, whose reign was marked by effective administration and profound personal isolation. His strict policies and austere management of public funds preserved the empire's stability, even as his own doubts sowed fear among the elite. The legacy he left behind is a tapestry of administrative innovation intertwined with the darker elements of paranoia and repression. As history turns its page, the transition to Caligula's rule signaled a shift in tone, from calculated restraint to unpredictable excess. Yet the impact of Tiberius's methods continues to offer lessons on the delicate balance between authority and liberty in governance. His rule, with all its complexities, challenges us to examine how power can both secure a state and undermine its spirit, inviting ongoing reflection on the nature of leadership and legacy.